Breaking news just coming in. India's retail inflation eases to 5.66% in March versus 6.44% in February. This is the lowest in over a year. The retail inflation is back within the RBI's target range. And India's retail inflation, as I mentioned, has eased to 5.66% in March. Let's go across to my colleague Sakshi Bajaj, who's in studio with us. Sakshi, what details can you share with us currently?
That's right, and good news for India's economy. India's retail inflation eases to 5.66% in March versus 6.44% in the month of February. Now, of course, this is turning out to be the lowest figure, or the rate of prices really rising, lowest in over a year. Of course, IIP data is also awaited, but for now what we know, and of course we've been speaking to experts throughout the morning, and they believe, of course, this easing is due to the high base seen around the same time last year. So, of course, that's one factor. However, concerns remain as far as milk and sugar prices are concerned. Of course, gold prices have also been rising, and concerns remain how that could impact core inflation data. But for now, of course, good news overall for India's economy, in a sense also, of course, vindicating the RBI stand and the decision to pause interest rates in the last monetary policy. However, to decode this further, we're going to, of course, be joined by experts. We have Mr. Madan Sabnavis, Chief Economist at Bank of Baroda. Thank you for joining us, sir. How do you read these numbers? Of course, in line with what the street was expecting all day.
No, absolutely. This is exactly in line with what we were expecting. We actually had a number of 5.8%, so 5.7% is very much in line. And as you have rightly mentioned, I think most of it is because of the base effect. We had rather high inflation last year in the region of around 6 to 7%. So I think that's the reason why these numbers are getting moderated. But even so, as we go by the headline number, it does look like that the stance of the RBI is vindicated. And I do believe that this inflation number will come further down in the next month, that is in the month of April. But concerns, of course, are there still on the food side, because we have seen prices of cereals, in particular wheat, which have been going up. Milk prices have been going up. So I think inflation on those two categories still remain high. And the fact that we have held on to the retail prices of fuel gives us comfort that even if the international price of crude oil goes up any further, there will not be any direct pass through to the consumer. So to that extent, I think even the absolute price levels may start moving downwards, but it will be in a very, very gradual manner.
All right. But of course, food inflation easing, and how do you see that panning out in the next months ahead?
In the next month ahead, I think a lot will depend upon cereals, because as I mentioned, cereals and milk are the two problem areas. And while milk is institutionally determined where companies decide to increase prices, in case of cereals, a lot will depend upon the Rabi harvest. We have mixed reports. Some reports say that there has been damage which has been caused to the crops in North India on account of the extreme climatic conditions. So we need to see whether the overall procurement of the government, the amount which comes into the mandis, whether these tend to be normal. Otherwise, there could definitely be an impact on prices out there, and the kind of decline in the inflation numbers which we're seeing on the food side could probably once again get arrested, and we could move towards the 5% region. Presently, I think for the food basket, we have around 4.8% inflation. So we expect it to go down under normal conditions, but there could be an increase in case cereal prices spike.
All right. Lastly, of course, some experts also concerned that rising gold prices may now pose a threat to core inflation. So your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think because there has been an increase in purchase of gold also, and we're also in this particular time of the year, which is called the marriage season. That is when the demand for gold goes up. We have seen international price of gold has definitely benefited from all the turbulence which we have seen in the markets. So that's one of the reasons why it's gone up. The rupee has also depreciated over a year. So combine these two factors, higher international price of gold almost touching $2,000 per ounce, along with the rupee which has depreciated by around 7 to 8% last year. That does give an upward tendency to prices of products which come under the miscellaneous category. So that is something which will keep core inflation up in the region of around 6%.
Sure. So a lot more on the fine print, but for now, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, good news for India's economy with inflation easing. Back to you, Parmeshwar, for other news.